The state rested its case against a former fire chief today. Now the defense is presenting its side for Larry McConnell. He's accused of sexually abusing a teenage girl. A Greene County judge convicted and sentenced the former Brookline chief to 10 years behind bars back in 2020. But in 2024, McConnell appealed the conviction. He won release from prison. He argued his lawyers had not provided him the help he needed. Now, we talked to an attorney in 2024 who explained there had been an issue with the handling of the evidence.
In 2019, it was alleged that the attorneys at that time did not produce evidence at the trial that was deemed by the appellate court to be exculpatory, meaning some evidence to prove or negate the defendant's guilt.
McConnell faces the same charges today as he did back then, statutory sodomy and rape. The same witnesses and evidence will also be used, but he does have new legal representation.